Stop scrolling right now. Because if you are seeing 1111 again, this is not a coincidence. It's not luck. And it's definitely not random. Someone is trying to reach you and you've been ignoring it for too long. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to say is not for everyone. It's only for the person who keeps seeing this number again and again and still pretends it means nothing. If that person is you, then this message found you at the exact moment it was supposed to. And no, you didn't click this by accident. You were led here. And deep down, you already feel that. Because every time 1111 appears, something inside you pauses. Something feels different. Like reality itself is trying to slow you down for a second and say, pay attention. But you don't. You look at it, you feel it, and then you move on like nothing happened. And that's exactly why it keeps coming back. Because you haven't understood it yet. You haven't responded to it yet. And until you do, it won't stop finding you. You think you're just noticing a number. But what if that number is noticing you? What if it's appearing at the exact moments when your thoughts are drifting in the wrong direction? When you're doubting yourself. When you're about to make a decision that doesn't align with who you're supposed to become. And right at that moment, 1111 shows up like a silent interruption. Like something stepping in without making noise. Without forcing you. Just reminding you. This is not who you are. This is not where you're meant to stay. And you feel it. Even if you don't admit it. There's always that 1 second. That tiny pause. Where everything feels still. Like time itself held its breath just to get your attention. But here's the truth no one tells you. Signs don't come to guide people who are unaware. They come to people who are ready but resisting. And that's exactly where you are right now. You're not lost. You're aware. But you keep choosing comfort over truth. You keep delaying the decision you already know you need to make. You keep holding on to something that your intuition has already told you to let go of. And every time you ignore that inner voice, every time you push that feeling away, 1111 appears again. Not to scare you. Not to confuse you. But to bring you back to that moment of awareness. Because this is not about the number. It never was. It's about your life. Your direction. Your choices. Your energy. And the version of yourself that you keep avoiding becoming. You've been standing at the edge of a shift for a while now. You've felt it in moments of silence. In late-night thoughts. In random waves of clarity that disappear as quickly as they come. You know something needs to change. You just haven't had the courage to act on it yet. And that's where this pattern comes in. This repetition. This constant reminder that you are not stuck because you can't move. You are stuck because you won't move. And every time 1111 shows up, it's like a mirror. Showing you exactly where you are in that moment. What you're thinking. What you're feeling. What you're avoiding. It's not predicting your future. It's exposing your present. And the more you ignore it, the stronger that feeling becomes. The harder it is to brush off. Because deep down, you know this isn't normal. People don't just repeatedly see the same number at the exact right moments without something behind it. And that something is not outside of you. It's within you. Trying to break through the noise. Trying to reach your conscious mind through patterns you can't ignore. But hey, race where everything changes. Seeing 1111 means nothing if you keep doing the same things after noticing it. Awareness without action is just another form of delay. And delay is the one thing that keeps people exactly where they are. So the real question is not, why do I keep seeing this number? The real question is, what am I going to do differently the next time I see it? Because that moment, that exact second, is your window. Your opportunity to pause and actually listen to yourself. To be honest about what you've been avoiding. To admit what you already know but don't want to face. Maybe it's a decision you've been postponing. Maybe it's a person you need to let go of. Maybe it's a path you know isn't right for you anymore. Or maybe it's a version of yourself that you've outgrown but keep holding on to because it feels safe. Whatever it is, you already know. You don't need another sign. You don't need more clarity. You don't need perfect timing. Because if you did, you wouldn't be seeing this again and again. And that's why this moment matters. Because right now, you're not just reading this. You're recognizing something. Something that feels a little too real to ignore. A little too accurate to be random. And that's your awareness waking up. That's the part of you that's been trying to get your attention finally being heard. And what you do next. That's what decides everything. You can scroll again. Distract yourself again. Pretend this was just another video, another message, another coincidence. Or you can stop. Really stop. And ask yourself one simple question. What is my life trying to show me right now? And be honest enough to accept whatever answer comes up. Because that answer, that uncomfortable, clear, undeniable truth, is exactly what you've been running from. And exactly what will set you free the moment you face it. So the next time you see 1111, don't just make a wish. Don't just smile and move on. Pause. Breathe. And listen. Because whatever is trying to reach you, it's not going to stop. Not until you finally understand it. And once you do, you'll realize something that changes everything. It was never about the number. It was always about you. You felt something while reading that, didn't you? Not just interest, not just curiosity. Something deeper, something quieter. Like a part of you was being spoken to directly. And that's exactly where this continues. Because once you become aware, you can't go back to being unconscious. Once you start noticing patterns like 1111, your reality begins to shift in ways you don't fully understand yet. And this is the part where most people get it wrong. They think the sign itself is powerful, they think the number holds some kind of magic. But the truth is, the power is not in 1111, the power is in what it awakens inside you. And right now, something inside you is waking up. Slowly, quietly. But undeniably. Because if you think about it, your life hasn't been random lately. Certain thoughts keep repeating, certain situations keep showing up, certain emotions keep coming back no matter how much you try to distract yourself. It's like something is looping. Trying to show you the same lesson in different forms until you finally understand it. And 1111 is just the clearest signal in that entire pattern. It's the moment where everything aligns just enough for you to notice that loop. You've been feeling stuck, haven't you? Not completely lost, not completely broken. Just stuck in between. Like you know there's more for you, but you can't seem to move toward it. Like you're waiting for something to click, something to push you, something to give you absolute certainty before you take the next step. But what if that something has already been happening? What if those repeated moments, those strange coincidences, those times you randomly check your phone and see 1111, what if those are the pushes you've been waiting for? Just not in the form you expected. Because the truth is, clarity doesn't come as a loud announcement. It comes as a quiet knowing. And you've been feeling that knowing for a while now. You just keep doubting it. You keep questioning yourself. You keep asking, what if I'm wrong? And that doubt is exactly what keeps you in the same place. Because every time you get close to a decision, your mind pulls you back into comfort, into familiarity, into the same patterns that feel safe but keep you stagnant. And that's why the signs repeat. Because one moment of awareness is not enough when you've spent so much time ignoring yourself. It has to come again. And again. And again. Until it breaks through the noise. Until it becomes impossible to ignore. Until you reach a point where you can't unsee it anymore. And I think you're getting very close to that point. If you're not already there. Because let's be honest. This isn't the first time you've felt like something is trying to reach you. This isn't the first time you've questioned whether there's more going on than just random events. You've had moments before. Moments where everything felt strangely aligned. Moments where you felt like you understood something important about your life. But then you went back to your routine. Back to distractions. Back to overthinking. And that clarity faded. But hey Race, what's different now? It's not fading as easily anymore, is it? It keeps coming back stronger. More noticeable. More persistent. And that's not happening by accident. That's happening because you're ready to see it. Ready to face it. Even if a part of you is still resisting. And that resistance. That hesitation. That fear of making the wrong move. It's normal. Because stepping into something new always feels uncertain. Leaving behind something familiar always feels uncomfortable. Even if that familiar thing is what's been holding you back. And that's the paradox you're stuck in right now. You want change. But you're afraid of what that change requires. So you stay in the middle. Not fully moving forward, not fully letting go. Just existing in that space where nothing really changes but everything feels heavy. And every time you sit in that space for too long, every time you ignore that inner push, 1111 shows up again. Not to confuse you, but to remind you that staying here is not your final destination. Because you were never meant to stay stuck. You were never meant to keep repeating the same cycles, feeling the same doubts, avoiding the same decisions. You were meant to grow. To shift. To become something more aligned with who you actually are. And that process doesn't happen comfortably. It happens through moments like this. Moments where you feel called out. Where you feel seen. Where you feel like something is asking more from you than you've been giving. And maybe that's what this is really about. Not the number. Not the pattern. But the fact that deep down, you know you're capable of more. You know you're meant for something different. And you've been settling for less because it's easier. Because it's familiar. Because it doesn't require you to face the unknown. But the more you ignore that feeling, the stronger it becomes. The louder it gets. Not in noise, but in presence. In repetition. In moments that keep pulling your attention back to the same question. How much longer are you going to stay where you are? And that question. That's the real message. That's what's trying to reach you. Not through words, not through explanations. But through patterns you can't ignore. Through timing that feels too precise to dismiss. Through a number that keeps appearing until you finally stop and ask yourself what it really means for you. Because at the end of the day, no sign can decide your life for you. No pattern can force you to change. It can only show you. Remind you. Nudge you. And the rest. That's on you. And right now, you're standing in that exact moment again. The moment where you either take this awareness seriously, or you let it fade like you've done before. The moment where you either trust what you're feeling, or you go back to doubting yourself. The moment where you either move, even just a little, or you stay exactly where you are. So don't ask what 1111 means anymore. Ask what you're going to do about it. Because the answer to that's what changes everything, and now you're here. Still reading, still listening, still feeling that quiet pull that you can't fully explain. And that right there tells you something important. Because people who are not meant to understand this would have already left. They would have scrolled away, dismissed it, called it coincidence and moved on without a second thought. But you didn't. Something kept you here. Something told you, keep going. There's more. And that something is exactly what has been trying to reach you this whole time. Because by now, you're starting to realize that this isn't just about seeing 1111 anymore. It's about what happens inside you when you do. It's about the awareness that follows. The thoughts that suddenly feel louder. The questions that don't go away as easily. The feeling that your life is trying to show you something and you're finally starting to pay attention. Even if you don't fully understand it yet. And erase the truth that most people never reach. The moment you start noticing patterns, your responsibility changes. Because before awareness, you could say, "I didn't know." Before awareness, you could keep repeating the same choices without questioning them. But now, you can't. Now every time you ignore that inner voice, you feel it more clearly. Every time you choose comfort over growth, it feels heavier. Every time you delay something you know you need to face, it lingers longer in your mind. That's not a punishment. That's alignment trying to happen. That's your mind and your deeper awareness no longer agreeing with the version of life you've been living. And that discomfort you feel, that tension, that quiet pressure, that's the space where change begins. Because think about it. If everything in your life was truly aligned, you wouldn't be seeing these patterns in the first place. You wouldn't feel this pull. You wouldn't feel like something is slightly off. Something is missing. Something needs to shift. The fact that you do feel it means you're already in the process of outgrowing your current reality. And outgrowing something is never comfortable. It doesn't feel exciting at first. It feels confusing. It feels uncertain. It feels like you're standing between two versions of yourself. One that's familiar and safe, and one that's unknown but real. And most people go back to the familiar one. Not because it's better, but because it's easier. But you're being pushed to choose differently. Not by force, but by awareness. By repetition. By moments like this that make it harder and harder to go back to who you were without questioning it. And this is where everything starts to become clear. Not perfectly clear, but clear enough. Clear enough for you to know that something in your life cannot continue the same way. Clear enough for you to admit that you've been avoiding a decision, a change, a truth. Clear enough for you to feel that staying where you are is no longer an option. Maybe it's a mindset you've been holding on to that's limiting you. Maybe it's a situation that no longer feels right. Maybe it's a habit that's slowly draining your energy. Or maybe it's simply the fact that you've been playing small in a life that's asking you to step up. Whatever it is, it's already in your mind right now. You don't need to search for it. You don't need to overthink it. Because the moment you ask yourself honestly, what do I need to change? The answer appears almost instantly. And that's the answer you've been running from. And this is the part where everything becomes real. Because awareness without action creates frustration. The more you see, the more you feel, the more you understand. The harder it becomes to stay the same. And if you still choose not to act, that's when you start feeling stuck in a deeper way. Not because you don't know what to do, but because you do know. And you're not doing it. That's why this moment matters more than you think. Because you're not just receiving a message. You're reaching a point. A turning point. Where you either step into that awareness fully, or you turn away from it and go back to old patterns. But here's the thing. Even if you try to go back, it won't feel the same anymore. Because once you've seen something clearly, you can't unsee it. Once you've felt that inner truth, you can't pretend it's not there. It will keep showing up. In your thoughts, in your emotions, in those quiet moments where you're alone with yourself. And yes, in those moments where you randomly look at the time and see 11:11 again. But now it won't feel like a mystery anymore. It will feel like a reminder. A reflection. A checkpoint. Asking you one simple thing. Are you moving forward? Or are you still holding yourself back? And that question. It doesn't need an answer in words. It needs an answer in action. In the choices you make after this moment. In the way you respond to that inner voice instead of ignoring it. In the courage to take even the smallest step toward what you know is right. Because change doesn't happen all at once. It starts with a decision. A small shift. A moment where you stop waiting for certainty and start trusting what you already feel. And maybe that moment is now. Not later. Not when everything is perfect. Not when you feel completely ready. But right now. When you're aware enough to see what's been hidden in plain sight. So don't let this become another moment you forget. Don't let this be another realization that fades away with time. Because you've had enough of those already. And you know it. This time. Do something with it. Even if it's small. Even if it's uncomfortable. Even if it's uncertain. Because that's how everything begins. And when you do. When you finally respond instead of ignore. When you finally move instead of hesitate. You'll notice something strange. You won't need to keep looking for 11:11 anymore. Because you'll no longer need a sign to remind you. You'll become the person who already knows, and now. This is where it ends. Not the message, but the waiting. Because everything that needed to reach you already has. And if you're still here, then you already know this wasn't random, this wasn't just another video, another script, another passing moment. This was a mirror. And in that mirror, you saw something real. Something honest. Something you can't ignore anymore. You don't need more signs after this. You don't need to keep searching for meaning in numbers, patterns, or coincidences. Because the meaning was never outside. It was always inside you. Waiting for you to finally stop, listen, and accept it. So the next time 11:11 appears, don't ask, what does this mean? Instead ask yourself, am I finally ready to act? Because that answer, that one decision, is where everything changes. And whether you move forward, or stay where you are, this time, it's completely your choice.